Imagine this horrifying scenario. You're sitting comfortably in your own living room, eager to share a precious memory with a beloved grandchild or a trusted friend, only to watch their attention drift away, boredom glazing over their eyes. Do nothing about your speaking habits for the next 5 minutes, and you risk watching your most treasured relationships crumble into disinterest and distance right before your very eyes. You may dismiss this as overly dramatic, but beware. Ineffective communication in your golden years doesn't just sabotage relationships, it quietly sets the stage for severe loneliness, relentless stress, and frightening health complications like heart attacks and devastating strokes. Scientists and physicians alike sound urgent alarms. Chronic emotional stress from being ignored or feeling disrespected can skyrocket cortisol levels, gradually stiffening your arteries and turning your own cardiovascular system into a hidden ticking time bomb. Think it's impossible? Think again. These aren't mere conversational mistakes. They're silent triggers escalating real biological dangers within your body. Left unchecked, these overlooked communication errors could put you on the fast track to declining immunity, escalating blood pressure, and irreversible health damage. In this explosive expose, you'll discover 7 vital speaking techniques proven to command instant respect, safeguard your emotional bonds, and possibly protect you from deadly medical emergencies. Stick around because what you're about to learn could dramatically transform your connections, reinforce your dignity, and shield your health from the devastating consequences of stress-induced illness. Your very life might depend on the next few minutes. Transition, a clinical snapshot. Consider a woman named Diane, who found herself in the emergency room in her mid-70s. For months, she had carried the weight of being dismissed in family conversations. It wasn't that her children disliked her. They just found her lengthy, meandering stories hard to follow. Eventually, tuning out Diane's constant frustration bubbled into an unrelenting anxiety that disturbed her sleep and spiked her blood pressure. One evening, the stress became overwhelming. She experienced a sudden surge in her heart rate that sent her to the hospital, worried she might be in the early phases of a cardiac event. After medical evaluations, Diane learned that she had narrowly dodged a crisis. Her physician explained that while her heart was still strong, the unaddressed anxiety played a role in elevating certain cardiovascular risks. The profound sense of feeling brushed aside in daily interactions had added layers of stress she simply could not dissipate. Experts caution that unresolved emotional burdens might compound over time, in some cases raising the risk of stroke. Diane's wake-up call led her to make significant changes in how she communicated, eventually restoring both her peace of mind and her place in the family dynamic. She is living proof that minor adjustments in speech can spark major shifts in how relatives respond and how your body handles stress. Turn on. Science, why this matters biologically. You may be wondering how exactly everyday conversation can intertwine so closely with your overall physiological well-being. According to a publication from the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health, 2018, chronic stress often fueled by feelings of social isolation or continual tension in personal interactions can magnify inflammation, markers disturb cardiovascular rhythm, and degrade immune responses. In simpler terms, persistent emotional strain can set off a domino effect that compromises many areas of health, from your heart to your mood stability. The World Health Organization, WHO 2020, also emphasizes that healthy aging involves not just physical fitness, but strong, supportive social bonds. When seniors master respectful, clear speech, they are more likely to sustain these positive connections, diminishing the detrimental impact of loneliness on physiological systems. Dr. Michael Greger, a noted physician and author, NutritionFacts.org 2019, has pointed out that psychological stress often correlates with lifestyle habits like comfort eating or neglecting exercise that raise the risk of metabolic and circulatory concerns. If your daily communication patterns breed stress, you might find yourself unwittingly sliding into these harmful routines. Neuroscientists, too, link effective conversation with improved cognitive resilience. When we engage in fulfilling interpersonal dialogues, the brain lights up regions related to reward, empathy, and emotional regulation. Over years, these small interactions help keep neural circuits robust. In contrast, repeated feelings of neglect or disrespect can lead to rumination, a mental habit known to spike cortisol levels and degrade cognitive performance over time. Clearly, communication skills in older adulthood are not a trivial or purely social matter. They can be a front line in preserving both physical and mental vitality. Kamai, the missing spark fear factor and practical hope. The original message on strong communication for seniors is crucial, but many people gloss over it because it might seem too soft or friendly. That is the missing spark, an urgent reminder that you can't afford to take these tips lightly. The real threat is social isolation, a step away from depression, which in turn can increase the probability of everything from uncontrolled hypertension to stroke. If you shrug off these points, you risk more than awkward silence. You risk allowing the stress hormone cortisol to wash over your heart, your arteries, and your mind day after day. However, here's the silver lining. You can absolutely course correct, and it doesn't require expensive medication or complicated therapy. It starts with intentionally altering the way you speak, listen, and respond to others. By the time you finish this extended presentation, you'll discover straightforward steps you can implement today. Yes, today, that can change how people perceive you, how you bond with loved ones, and how your body copes with daily stress. These 7 speaking habits are easy to grasp and unbelievably powerful when practiced consistently. We'll soon dive into detailed real-world stories, including seniors who overcame emotional roadblocks to rebuild family ties, and those who confronted severe loneliness by harnessing the transformative power of everyday talk. If you want to make sure you never miss a crucial moment and never leave your well-being to chance, this is your invitation to keep watching to the end. At the close, you'll receive a structured 7-day communication blueprint that you can adopt as a personal challenge. Follow it, share it, and watch how it revolutionizes your relationships and your mood. Habit 1. Listening completely before speaking. Many constructive dialogues start with one foundational practice: listening fully. Although the notion seems simple, it can be extremely difficult in today's rapid-fire environment, where interruptions and multitasking are the norm. Many older adults feel the urge to share their stories right away, fearing they may not get another chance. But ironically, constantly jumping in can sabotage the very validation we seek. True respect arises when you let the other person's words stand, giving them the dignity to finish. Think about a scenario. You ask your granddaughter about her stressful school exam. As she starts explaining her challenges, you have a dozen thoughts swirling, reminders of your own schooling or suggestions on how to manage time. But hold on. What if you paused, breathed, and quietly let her speak to the end? Not only does she sense your undivided attention, but you also gather more context, enabling a more empathetic and helpful reply. Case in point, consider Gary, a 67-year-old retired postal worker who realized that his adult son rarely reached out. After some honest feedback, Gary found out that his habit of cutting in with solutions made his son feel unimportant. Feeling chastised wasn't the issue for the son, it was never feeling heard. Once Gary consciously adopted the discipline of listening fully, their talks became richer, less confrontational, and more regular. Over time, their bond blossomed, and Gary found unexpected peace in simply being present rather than always directing the exchange. Scientifically, giving someone your full attention can help regulate both their and your own stress hormones. According to a study published in Frontiers in Psychology 2017, the act of listening activates neural pathways associated with empathy and emotional regulation. In the long run, practicing deeper listening can reduce interpersonal friction, indirectly promoting cardiovascular health because it diminishes daily stress triggers. Whenever you feel the urge to break in, remind yourself that patience in conversation is an investment in shared respect and potentially your own well-being. If you've skimmed thus far and are ready to close the tab, let this sink in. Refusing to listen thoroughly may unravel your closest relationships. Over time, it can make your grandchildren or friends see you as someone who demands the stage. That sort of tension doesn't just dissipate, it can evolve into chronic dissatisfaction, feeding emotional strain that taxes your physical health. So the next time you're tempted to jump in and prove your point, remember that listening fully can provide the connection and peace you're really seeking. Tukchoen. Habit 2. Slow, deliberate speech for maximum impact. If you've ever been in a frantic discussion where words are flying at breakneck speed, you know how anxiety-inducing it can be. Respected elders often do the exact opposite. They adopt a paced, methodical way of speaking that projects calm authority. By speaking slowly, you give your words a weight that quick talk cannot achieve. It's akin to pausing between musical notes. The silence can be as important as the sound. Visualize a person named Marjorie, a 79-year-old community leader who rarely needs to repeat herself. Whenever she opens her mouth, her voice is steady, unhurried, and confident. Others around her instinctively quiet down and lean in to catch every word. Her co-volunteers at the local charity joke that Marjorie could make even the busiest teenager sit still. The secret simple, pacing measured tone and unwavering clarity. From a physiological standpoint, slowing down your speech not only allows your audience to process your message, but it also calms your own autonomic nervous system. Researchers suggest that measured speech patterns can help regulate breathing, which in turn soothes the sympathetic stress response. By diminishing the flight or fight signals in your body, you help maintain steadier blood pressure. Over time, this practice can foster an environment where you're not only better heard, but also more physically at ease. One of the unspoken rewards of speaking with intention is that you minimize misunderstandings. People have room to digest each phrase, reflect momentarily, and respond thoughtfully instead of reactively. You also reduce the risk that your remarks will be perceived as thoughtless. If you've ever regretted an off-the-cuff statement, you know how it can taint an entire relationship. Delivering your words at a calm tempo acts like a built-in filter, ensuring that what emerges is purposeful. Still not convinced? Picture the last time you had an argument with someone who was raising their voice and talking a mile a minute. Did it feel productive or did it escalate tension? On the flip side, imagine encountering a person who intentionally took a moment to breathe and then replied in a level, thoughtful tone. That difference can de-escalate conflict in an instant. It's the hallmark of someone who's in control of themselves, which naturally earns admiration. Habit 3, avoiding gossip and negative chatter. Idle chatter about other people's personal affairs is one of the fastest ways to lose genuine respect. When you frequently comment on who did what, who said something embarrassing, or who is struggling behind the scenes, others notice. Even if they don't call you out, a silent judgment forms. If this person gossips about them, they might be gossiping about me too. This invisible barrier quickly erodes trust. In a society often fueled by tabloids and reality shows, it can be tempting to dwell on rumors or emphasize someone else's flaws. But truly admired seniors rise above that. They don't need scandal to feel connected. They build rapport on positivity and genuine curiosity. Consider Linda, 72, who noticed the volunteers at her church group swirling in gossip about a neighbor's romantic troubles. Linda made a pointed effort to steer the conversation toward how to support that neighbor, instead of speculating about lurid details. The health angle here is straightforward. Repeated negative discussions can lead to consistent spikes in stress. Emotional negativity can undermine your psychological well-being, leaving you more vulnerable to ailments like insomnia or digestive distress. As indicated in a study from the journal Psychoneuroendocrinology 2015, repeated exposure to negative social interactions heightens cortisol levels, hormones that can over time drive up blood pressure and compromise immune function. Also, frequently gossiping can trap you in a cycle of worry because you might fear the repercussions if the person you talked about finds out. The mental toll of such worry can have real physiological consequences, elevating heart rate, causing tension, headaches, and contributing to chronic stress. Is a momentary rush of being in the know worth the potential damage to both your relationships and your body? Most people find it's a raw deal. So whenever you feel the itch to engage in negative chatter, pause, ask yourself, is this helpful, kind, or necessary? If not, consider shifting to a more constructive topic. Over time, people will gravitate toward you because they recognize you as a beacon of respect and stability. Rather than feeding the rumor mill, you become someone to confide in, a source of authenticity that stands out in a world that often craves drama. Habit 4, consistently choosing uplifting words. This fourth practice flows naturally from the third, opting for words that build rather than tear down. Respected older adults are usually known for their knack for genuine compliments, kind observations, and encouraging statements. When you highlight another person's strengths, you become a catalyst for warmth and openness, both in them and in yourself. It's as if each uplifting phrase helps create a climate of trust where meaningful relationships can thrive. Take Margaret, a 75-year-old grandmother of three. Her grandchildren love visiting because they leave her house feeling better about themselves than when they arrived. She'll casually note, "I noticed how patient you were helping your brother with homework that shows real compassion." These small acknowledgments echo in the mind of her grandkids, shaping their sense of self-worth long after they've gone home. Margaret's consistent positivity has also nurtured her own happiness. She reports fewer episodes of feeling blue compared to her peers. Why does speaking kindly matter so much for physical wellness? Research from the University of Wisconsin 2019 suggests that giving frequent positive feedback releases endorphins, chemicals associated with pleasure and relaxation. These biochemical rewards bolster your sense of well-being and could help stabilize heart rate, ease tension, and lower the release of harmful stress hormones. When you deliberately speak well of others, you become a beneficiary of your own good cheer. This doesn't mean you sugarcoat harsh truths or ignore genuine problems. It simply indicates a bias toward recognizing the constructive aspects of people and situations. If a friend or family member is struggling, you might say, "I see how hard you're working to push through this," instead of, "You're always complaining. Stop being so negative." The shift might be subtle in wording, but profound in effect. Encouragement can light a spark of resilience in others, while cynicism or criticism can extinguish it. Beyond benefiting others, consistently framing your words in a hopeful manner trains your own mind toward optimism. Repeated acts of verbal encouragement form neural patterns of positivity. Over months and years, you may find that your general outlook on life improves. People who once hesitated to share their dreams and worries might open up, looking to you as a stable, uplifting figure. In that sense, your language becomes an open door for deeper connections, which in turn feed back into your own emotional and physical wellness. Or into P. Habit 5, never interrupting or talking over others. Fifth on the list is a skill often neglected in modern culture: letting others speak without cutting them off. Interruptions, even well-intentioned ones, can convey disrespect. For an older adult who wants to be seen as dignified, and understanding the act of graciously giving a person the floor can distinguish you from the crowd. In a world where everyone rushes to add their 2 cents, your silence becomes a mark of wisdom. From a practical perspective, not interrupting allows you to grasp the full measure of a person's thoughts. This often uncovers deeper insights into their feelings and experiences. For instance, Leonard, 68, discovered that not interrupting his daughter during her rants about work stress helped her self-reflect. She said, "Dad, when I talk to you, I sort out my own feelings just by hearing myself speak." Ironically, Leonard's most helpful role was to keep quiet and nod. Self-control in conversation can be healing for your own psyche too. Constantly striving to interject can raise your internal tension levels. You might be formulating responses while half listening, which increases mental strain. By choosing stillness, you align with a calmer state of mind. This approach can help you remain centered, reduce conflict, and preserve emotional equilibrium, key factors for longevity and health. Moreover, letting others speak unimpeded fosters an environment where they feel secure sharing genuine concerns. This can significantly deepen relationships. If an acquaintance knows you won't cut them off, they might trust you with delicate issues. And building trust with those around you has real health implications. Social bonds, particularly those grounded in empathy, have been correlated with lower mortality rates, according to multiple longitudinal studies in the Journal of Aging and Health. In some, curb your impulse to jump in. When you sense an exciting point or a correction you want to make, practice a mental breath or simple pause. Let the other person finish. You'll find that being the listener, not the talker, can be the most commanding position in the room because it projects patience and emotional steadiness. Habit 6, thinking before you speak. We've all said something in haste that we later regretted. A second's oversight can lead to days or even years of tension and remorse. This habit addresses that, directly pausing to consider the ramifications of what's on the tip of your tongue. While thinking before speaking may sound like common sense, many folks skip this vital step in the heat of the moment or when caught off guard. One clinical anecdote involves a senior named Andrew, a retired construction foreman. He attended a social gathering where a relative declared they were adopting a vegan lifestyle. Andrew, caught off guard and slightly tipsy, blurted out, "That's nonsense, you're just being difficult." The family felt the sting immediately, and the younger relative stormed out. A simple moment of reflection, taking a breath, and mentally deciding whether to speak or stay silent, could have averted that flare-up. Physiologically, impulsive speech often correlates with heightened adrenaline and cortisol. These hormones surge when we feel threatened or shocked, prompting us to lash out verbally. Over time, repeated spikes in stress hormones can harm cardiovascular health and contribute to chronic inflammation, per the American Heart Association's Guidelines 2017. Consequently, practicing restraint in how quickly you respond can reduce unnecessary surges in stress chemicals. In day-to-day life, the ability to wait a brief second before replying helps you assess, is my remark constructive or purely reactive? Am I voicing frustration that might better be stated more gently? Could I skip saying this altogether? Perhaps you realize the conversation is already heated and decide that it's best to hold your peace until emotions cool. That small gap between your thought and your statement, often just a few heartbeats, can save relationships from irreparable damage. Eventually, thinking before you speak becomes second nature. Through repetition, your brain rewires itself to favor caution over impulsivity. Rather than fueling arguments or hurt feelings, you gradually cultivate a reputation for measured dialogue. Friends and family come to respect your words precisely because they sense the deliberate care behind them. In a time when many people fire off opinions as quickly as they send text messages, that rare quality of reflection shines like gold. Artinitrum. Habit 7, speaking with gratitude and perspective. Last but far from least is the practice of embedding gratitude into what you say. As a senior, you've likely traversed hardships, financial struggles, health issues, and the bittersweet vantage point of watching younger generations face their own trials. Using that vantage point to frame your words in appreciation can revolutionize how you connect with others. Thankfulness might sound airy-fairy, but it is a potent emotional anchor. Clinically, gratitude has been linked to improved mental health outcomes, including lower rates of depression and anxiety. John Templeton, Foundation 2016. When you speak grateful words, your neural pathways associated with reward and satisfaction spark to life, releasing neurotransmitters that soothe the stress response. Over time, these small acts of verbal appreciation might help moderate blood pressure, reduce inflammatory markers, and even bolster immune function. Consider an older gentleman named Saul who navigated a long hospital stay upon discharge. He made it his mission to verbally acknowledge everyone who offered support, even small gestures like a neighbor bringing in the mail. His adult daughter noted Dad's whole demeanor changed. He started each day thanking the universe for one thing he still could do. Saul's sense of peace radiated outward. Neighbors and friends felt inspired, and in turn they offered more genuine assistance. His circle of care expanded simply because he articulated gratefulness. Speaking from a wide perspective also means you do not minimize life's difficulties. Instead, you place them in a larger frame. You might say something like, yes, the arthritis is bothersome, but I'm still able to enjoy my mornings. This simple shift from complaint to measured acceptance can help others see you as a person who has wisdom, not just years. It's particularly impactful for younger listeners who can glean that aging isn't just about decline, it's also about clarity. In an era where cynicism can be more contagious than the common cold, a grateful outlook is a balm. It doesn't deny reality, it acknowledges it, and then chooses to highlight whatever rays of hope exist. Speaking with thanks also fosters emotional closeness. People typically feel safer around someone who recognizes them warmly, maybe for dropping off groceries or taking out the trash. When you live out gratitude vocally, you invite others to do the same, forming a cycle that nourishes everyone involved. Supplemental case studies. Now that you've seen all 7 habits, let's dive deeper into how they can play out in real life. Case study, Anita, age 74, former teacher. Background: Anita spent her career educating teenagers. In her retirement, she found her extended family growing distant. Conversations felt stilted with younger relatives replying in monosyllables. Problem: Anita realized she frequently interrupted to correct them. This constant teacher mode unintentionally belittled their experiences and created a rift. She also tended to unleash negative gossip about people in her building, likely an unintentional leftover from faculty lounge chatter, Result, a longtime friend encouraged her to slow down and let her grandnieces speak without interruption. Anita also made a conscious effort to spotlight positive traits. Wow, you showed amazing resilience in that situation. Instead of offering unsolicited critiques, over 2 months she noticed family gatherings becoming warmer. They lingered longer to chat and her own spirits rose. Case study: Bill, age 80, retired accountant. Background: Bill prided himself on efficiency and quick wit. However, when it came to family dinners, his abrupt mannerisms led to tension. He often rushed the conversation, aiming to get to the point. Problem observers felt bulldozed by his rapid speech and minimal eye contact. Bill's blood pressure soared after each gathering, reflecting the unspoken stress. Result, upon the advice of a counselor, Bill experimented with speaking deliberately, employing short pauses to gather his thoughts. Unexpectedly, these small hesitations made him sound more empathetic and approachable. Family members commented that they felt more relaxed around him, and Bill's post-dinner blood pressure readings dipped. Case study: Gloria, age 78, part-time librarian. Background: Gloria spent years quietly presiding over library events, rarely letting her own voice shine. She was polite but often invisible in group discussions. Tomarishan problem. Although sweet-tempered, she lacked the confidence to speak up. This reticence led her to internalize frustrations, culminating in episodes of significant stress and mild panic. A doctor warned that her heart rhythm was showing signs of strain. Result: Gloria took a bold step by practicing the seventh habit, communicating gratitude and perspective. She began each library event by thanking volunteers for their efforts, placing emphasis on how their contributions helped the broader community. Over time, her measured yet appreciative tone boosted her own self-assurance. She became a known figure in social circles, and her stress-related symptoms gradually subsided. Fornanaturn, 24-hour challenge and 7-day checklist. If you're thinking, this all sounds terrific, but where do I start? Here's a simple jumpstart: 24-hour challenge. For the next day, consciously apply at least 2 of these habits in every interaction. Whether you're talking with a friend, a neighbor, or a family member, do your best to 1. Speak more slowly, and 2. Listen without interrupting. Jot down a quick note afterward about how the exchange felt. Did the other person seem more engaged? Did your own stress level decrease? This initial challenge helps you see tangible results quickly. 7-day checklist. 1. Day 1. Focus on gratitude. Start each conversation by expressing one thing you're thankful for, whether it's good weather or a helpful family member. 2. Day 2. Erase gossip. Go a full day resisting negative talk about anyone else. If gossip starts, change the subject. 3. Day 3. Practice full listening. Commit to letting people finish their thoughts even if you strongly disagree. Keep track of how often you want to cut in, then practice restraint. 4. Day 4. Slow your speech. Make a conscious effort to speak at a steady, deliberate pace. This might feel odd at first, but keep going. 5. Day 5. Uplift. Someone find at least one opportunity to genuinely compliment or encourage a friend or family member. Notice their reaction. 6. Day 6. Pause and think. Before you speak, count to 2 in your mind. This short pause can do wonders in preventing impulsive remarks. 7. Day 7. Reflect on progress. Write a few sentences about how your relationships feel. Do you notice more mutual respect, less tension? Celebrate any positive changes. Feel free to share this 7-day checklist with your friends, senior clubs, or church groups. It can spark a collective upgrade in the way everyone interacts, magnifying the benefits for your entire community. Action plan: how to make it stick. 1. Schedule a weekly review. Pick one evening a week to assess your communication style. Ask, did I rush through my words? Did I interrupt anyone? How often did I offer positive remarks versus negative ones? This reflection keeps you accountable. 2. Share your goals. If possible, tell a close friend or loved one that you're working on these habits. Ask for gentle reminders when you slip up. Having an accountability partner can double your success rate in adopting new behaviors. 3. Incorporate relaxation techniques. If you tend to speak hastily or brashly, you might be carrying deeper anxiety. Techniques like deep breathing, short walks, or mild stretching can help ground you before important conversations. According to the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health, mindful breathing can reduce stress indicators such as elevated cortisol. 4. Consult your physician. Remember, this transformation is not a substitute for professional health care. If you deal with chronic conditions like hypertension, depression, or severe anxiety, always seek personalized advice. Your physician can guide you on how better communication and stress management complement, not replace any prescribed care. 5. Celebrate small wins. Whenever you finish a conversation and realize you've successfully avoided gossip, pause before speaking or offered an uplifting phrase. Give yourself credit. Behavioral change is often about reinforcing tiny victories. Edere Simon. Here, call to comment. Have you ever noticed this sign? Comment "I feel it" if you relate "I'm safe" if not, and add a question for the doctor. Why this matters for your long-term health. Perhaps you're still contemplating the link between refined communication and your body's vitality. Repeated stress, even in small doses from daily irritations, can have a cumulative impact. If your relationships suffer, children avoid phone calls, friends quietly drift away, feelings of isolation may bloom. These emotional states do not occur in a vacuum. Studies from the American Journal of Geriatric Psychiatry confirm that perceived isolation can escalate symptoms of cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, and cognitive decline. Imagine you hold a balloon and steadily blow air into it. Each puff alone seems harmless, but eventually the balloon stretches to its limit and bursts. In the same way, everyday frustrations that come from feeling disrespected or failing to connect with loved ones can accumulate until they pop in the form of medical emergencies or severe depression. That's why these speech habits are about far more than winning a conversation. They're about preserving your health in subtle yet powerful ways. Moreover, consistently practicing these habits nurtures a supportive social network, one where others naturally gravitate to you for your wisdom and calming presence. A robust social circle correlates with improved mental function, lower stress, and better disease outcomes, according to the World Health Organization's guidelines on healthy aging. By being the person people want to confide in you, help maintain not just your mental sharpness, but your emotional equilibrium. Consider that the path to preventing stroke or heart issues doesn't solely lie in taking pills or following a strict diet. While medical interventions and a balanced lifestyle are crucial, it's often the intangible aspects like communication, emotional support, and strong social ties that help round out a full approach to health. By adopting these speaking techniques, you offer your body a quieter mental landscape, giving it room to heal and function optimally. So the next time you sense an argument flaring or catch yourself about to share a rumor, remember each respectful word. Choice is an active shield against the creeping toll of stress. Communication is a deeply human trait, bridging your mind and emotions to the people around you. It's not just about being nice, it's about leveraging your wisdom to create harmony for your heart, your mind, and the hearts and minds of those in your orbit. Patri, virality boost, unexpected perils, and hidden benefits. If you neglect these habits, you might not see immediate fallout. No one drops dead from one heated argument. But the real hazard is the long, slow drip of daily strain that chips away at your resilience. Over months and years, that negativity can prime your body for serious diseases. This is what many seniors miss. The danger is subtle, accumulating quietly until a crisis occurs. On the flip side, the hidden benefits can be enormous. Picture yourself at your next family gathering, calmly guiding the conversation while your adult children and grandkids hang on every word. You see in their eyes real admiration. There's no cringe, no side-eye glances, no excuses to slip away early. Instead, you share jokes, trade stories, and solidify bonds that buffer you against the storms of aging. This synergy fosters a sense of belonging, a key buffer against depression. Harvard researchers have linked social belonging with longevity, suggesting that strong community ties can add quality years to a person's life. You stand to gain improved mood, stable blood pressure, and fewer 3 a.m. wake-up calls, haunted by regrets over harsh words. And the folks around you get the gift of a dependable elder. They can trust an invaluable asset in any family or community. Another overlooked advantage involves your own sense of purpose. Many retirees experience a disorienting shift when they leave the workforce. A daily routine of purposeful communication, Perhaps volunteering mentoring or simply nurturing family relationships can fill that gap. Even small interactions become more meaningful when you speak deliberately, show genuine interest, and radiate encouragement. Ultimately, these senior speaking secrets aren't just about politeness. They represent a disciplined approach to relationships that leverages the power of words for emotional and physical healing. Combined with medical advice, proper diet, and moderate exercise, mindful communication can be a keystone in your plan to maintain health and happiness in your golden years. Putrianaina. Extending the science. 3 expert quotes. 1. World Health Organization, WHO 2020. Social engagement remains an essential component of healthy aging. Elderly adults who maintain respectful and constructive interactions show higher levels of mental and physical well-being over time. 2. Harvard T.H. Chan, School of Public Health 2018 study. Interpersonal stress is not merely a psychological concept. It has measurable effects on cardiovascular markers, sleep quality, and immune responses. Positive social bonds can offset these stressors by promoting resilience. 3. Dr. Michael Greger, NutritionFacts.org 2019. Psychological well-being influenced by the quality of our social connections can correlate with reduced inflammation and improved heart health. Nurturing these connections through mindful communication can be as important as what we eat. Use these statements as reminders that the subject here is not trivial. There's concrete research behind the claim that sound communication nurtures your body's capacity to stay balanced and strong. Frequently asked questions. 1. Won't people see my new communication efforts as phony or manipulative? Authenticity matters. If you approach these changes from a place of sincere care, most will sense your genuineness. Take it gradually. People appreciate consistent kindness more than sudden dramatic shifts. 2. How can I handle a family member who persists in interrupting me? Model the behavior you want to see. Resist retaliating or interrupting back. You might politely say, "I'm eager to hear your thoughts, but let me finish this point." Over time, your composed manner can set a precedent. 3. Is it too late to mend relationships damaged by past words? While the past can't be undone, consistent positive actions now can gradually rebuild trust. Apologize sincerely if needed, then let new communication habits demonstrate your reliability. Your longevity of consistent respect can work wonders over time. 4. Can these methods reduce stress in other age groups as well? Absolutely. While we focus on older adults, these strategies benefit anyone seeking healthier dialogue and stronger bonds. Younger generations can learn from your example, experiencing firsthand that respectful communication is a lifelong skill. 5. Do I need counseling to adopt these habits effectively? Not necessarily, though counseling can accelerate the process if you have deep-seated communication issues or emotional traumas. Keep in mind, always consult your physician if you suspect underlying anxiety or health concerns. 7. Never abandon prescribed care. A critical reminder. These communication habits are powerful, yet no substitute for medical expertise. If you've been prescribed medications for blood pressure, heart conditions, or mood-related challenges, continue taking them as advised. Better speech habits can complement your treatments, but they do not replace professional healthcare recommendations. Always consult your physician before making significant changes to your wellness plan. Korean recap and conclusion. We've journeyed through 7 transformative speaking habits. Listen completely before speaking. Give others the gift of undivided attention. 3. Speak slowly and deliberately. Pace your words so that each sentence resonates. Steer clear of gossip. Show that your words and relationships are built on integrity. 2. Choose uplifting expressions. Shine a light on others' strengths and watch positivity grow. 4. Avoid interruptions. Demonstrate respect by letting voices unfold. 3. Pause to think. Spare yourself and others from impulsive remarks. 3. Speak with gratitude. Leverage your life experience to maintain hope and perspective. 3. Rapid-fire takeaways. Healthy communication can regulate emotional strain, supporting cardiovascular function. Social bonds flourish when you offer sincere kindness and refrain from harmful talk. Each interaction is a chance to practice presence, build trust, and enrich your own sense of purpose. If these insights struck a chord, be sure to like this video, Subscribe to the channel and share it widely. The more people adopt these speaking practices, the healthier and more fulfilling our communities can become. And remember to drop your comments below, especially your experiences with the 24-hour challenge or the 7-day checklist. Hearing your progress encourages others to take action too. Final question to ignite discussion. What's one small shift in communication you wish you had made earlier in life? And what impact do you think it could have had on your health or relationships?